Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Charitable and Home Care. Very glad you are joining us. Whoever may be joining us, we appreciate it. And we're always very glad to get updates from those people who are in the know about what's happening in our community. One of those, our new superintendent of Terrebonne Parish Schools, Bubba Orgeron. Bubba, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming back. I guess our starting point is where so many people are, but from your perspective, it's parish-wide. How are things going with our recovery with the schools?
Well, it's going really well. We have a lot of stuff happening, a lot of projects, that are underway or about to get started. So, but I think that the message is that every school will be in session, including the two temporary campuses, and we can talk about that later. But, they'll be ready to go on time, and I think that's the main thing we need to know.
It's fantastic. Really good news.
But other than that, there's so many things going on. We have roofing projects that are about to get started, about to get underway. Now the roofs that we have they're not like they don't have extensive damage where they're leaking tremendously. There may be a leak here or there, but for the most part, they're ready to receive kids this year. But we're going to replace them because they still have some temporary coverings and things like that are kind of still in place. So that's exciting. We'll get new roofs. And that's a big project. It's an architectural design involved, and then put out to bid, and then roofing project done. So we have several of those being done.
It's not like just calling you a roofer that can.
Not like we did for our homes, right? It's a whole lot different. Process, obviously. And we had a lot of this summer. We had several. I think there were about 8 schools that had floors abated.
Right.
So a lot of floors, those the ceiling tiles got saturated, so all that was changed out. But then the floor tiles, when they got wet, they curled up, and when they curl, they have to be removed. And when you remove them, there's asbestos either in the glue or the tile. So once that's kind of disrupted, you've got to abate it properly.
Right.
So we have environmental companies come in and do this the right way. So several schools have no floor tile, so they'll be on the bare cement, but it's going to be nicely cleaned and buffed and ready to receive tiles later on in the year.
Right.
But
whenever that may be.
Yes, whenever that may be. And we're not going to do the tiles till we do all the ceiling work and the roof work. So we'll do that first, then come back and do floors on most of our schools.
Because once you have your beautiful floors in,
you're right.
You don't want a whole lot of heavy equipment on top of that, and that's kind of why.
Typically, the last thing we're going to do in the schools is flooring. Right.
Gotcha. Wow. And so that's just a lot of things
going
on.
And that's just a few things, right?
Right. But the good news is that we're going to be ready in all of our schools, even with the 2 temporary locations.
Yes.
And so, like you said, we'll talk about that a little more.
Yep.
Let's talk about some of the advantages with some of these modular options that y'all have found in different places.
Yeah. So the advantages would be that you can custom make them exactly how you need them.
Right.
So we were able to put in, and we'll see some pictures later, we were able to put in fixtures for science labs. So we're not going to, not have labs for physics and chemistry and biology labs. We have the space and all of the fittings for gas and water, and with all the proper science lab tables and things like that. So those things we're not going to lose out on by being in a temporary campus. We also have, and you'll see pictures again, like I said, adequate library space, just really big space.
Exactly.
We have a cafeteria that we'll see pictures of. So a lot of space that they had in the original school, the regular school, that we're going to have
here as well.
Accommodated as
Let's roll in those pictures and see those. So we'll look at those now. And so, Jen, thank you, Jen. I'll let you kind of talk about these as we go.
So this is Ellender Memorial's temporary campus, and that one is set behind the existing building, so you can't really see it from the road. But the neat thing that I think about it, they're all interconnected with all of this expansive boardwalk. You can see it's really well done, well put together, all hurricane strapped, done to code, really wide, like the previous photo showed. The width, I'm not
wide.
sure, but I think 15 feet, maybe even more than that. So large traffic, class exchanges and all that, it's all going to be about like a normal hallway in a school. Then we have like big rooms here. This is actually a picture of the science lab, so you can see how spacious it is. And on the floor, you can see all the connections for gas and all that, which I'm a science teacher, so it kind of gets me excited.
That's exciting.
I even took a picture of the outlet where the gas is going to be.
That's a gas line, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of neat to know that
Right.
chemistry and things like that will still go on at
Right.
both South Terrebonne and Ellender.
Right.
Yes. So even our home economics, or we call them FACS classes, family
Right.
and consumer sciences, we have outfitted, you can see stoves,
Right.
as well as the kitchen, kitchenware, sinks, and all that kind of stuff, so
Right.
that it simulates like working in a kitchen / restaurant, that
Right.
kind of thing. So they'll
Right
be able to do a
next to
lot
each
of
other,
basic
right?
cooking, which is really not a loss from what they had in their regular
Right.
school.
A teacher can see both of those at the
Yes,
same time.
actually, that's a picture of two. There's like I think 5 in a row, so it's like a
5
little
of them.
bit
That's
bigger than the
awesome.
picture I can capture.
Okay.
This here is the cafeteria picture. So
Oh, that's awesome.
it's not extremely huge, but the way kids will eat in shifts, it'll accommodate enough kids.
Accommodating, right.
So that's right now South Terrebonne is actually outfitted with all the furniture. Ellender's
Okay.
about a week behind in furnishing, so
The
right
furniture
now it's
coming in.
coming. I think either tomorrow, which is going to be Thursday,
or Friday.
whatever the date is, the 21st.
Nice.
And again, this is a picture of the library. And
Okay.
inside that picture, we have a lot of space for faculty meetings and things like that.
Wow.
And something else,
all that room.
I think we did a pretty good job with all the furniture we're buying for this temporary campus is going to be transferred into the new building once this. I say new building. We can talk about that in a minute too. but
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's
it's
a really
gonna
good idea
Kind of be like a new building, but not quite a new building for both campuses.
for both
Yes,
South
South
Terrebonne
Terrebonne
and
and
Ellender.
Ellender.
Very good. Well, we appreciate the updates. Thank you for the pictures,
thing.
Jan. Some other projects going on, right? In addition to all of
Yes,
those
right,
modular
right. So,
changes in buildings.
Some of the damages were a lot of the damages rather were to our modular building. So we had some modulars at several of our schools.
Right.
In particular, Berg and Broadmoor had 2 fairly large modulars that received quite a bit of damage. So we had those demolished, and we have new modulars coming in.
Okay. New updated modules.
New updated modulars that are going to be to code. And that's one of the interesting things or neat things about these modulars, that they're rated for like 170-mile-an-hour winds. Now, we don't want to test that out.
No,
right?
no,
But-
we never want those
but
tests.
that's the rating. So these modules are well done. They're well put together. They're going to be a little late for both Berg and Broadmoor. So people need to know that.
Right.
Those schools have done tremendous things with just being flexible and accommodating teachers who were displaced from their modular building, their
Right.
original one. So we have people like in libraries or in computer labs having their regular classes.
Right.
So they're going to be back in September in their new modular building.
Okay.
We're looking around Labor Day that it should be ready to go. We have them in. We just
Right.
kind of got to have them prepped up and all the prep work, site
Right.
work to kind of put them in place.
Right.
And we had
Get
some
them strapped
delays.
down and those kinds of
all
things.
of those things. And there were some delays with a lot of things, just like everywhere else.
Everybody else is having.
So that kind of pushed things back, and we've had to have a few workarounds, particularly with the 2 high school temporary campuses.
Sure. Sure.
So our people did some really good things to kind of, make sure they were going to be scheduled in on time.
Right. And all the while, y'all still had some summertime programming.
Yeah, we
all
did.
with all this stuff going
We
on.
did. Now we had to select sites.
Sure,
accordingly,
that were
right?
appropriate,
'Cause,
right.
we had to, not have sites that typically house our summer programs that are having asbestos abatement done.
Right. Right.
So we had enough sites that weren't damaged enough to kind of have it. So we had 6 different sites on the east side and west side, and we had over 1,200 kids participate in our summer program, and that's just
Wow.
grades K-8, with the majority of the kids, like in the K-4
Right.
area.
But that's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
and
kids.
we did it last year. This was a project we had last year, a summer program, and we didn't make it like summer school, like we're familiar with summer school, where it's
Right.
kind of just a lot of tutoring and catching up on some of the academics. There was a component of that, but there was a lot of recreational games and a lot of science activities, a lot of STEM related activities that we invested in the kids for this science component of their summer school. So it was really well attended, and we had really good leadership, good teachers. So we're very happy that we were able to accommodate kids during the summer with this kind of program.
Right. And just the volume, especially from K through 8.
Yeah,
1,200.
right.
That's a lot of kids with a lot to do.
A lot to do, and
Giving
we
them
had
some options.
breakfast and lunch, and most sites had a gym. If not, they were out in the yard, and which is a good thing. Getting out there playing and running around and enjoying. Like we used to kind of enjoy recreation,
Yeah.
which I'm sure a lot of kids still go to recreation, but this was kind of like our version of academics mixed with some recreation and science activities.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think is really broadened with some of the teachers and their expansive knowledge about being able to kind of bring fun back into the classroom. And
Yes,
quite frankly,
yes.
the kids want to have fun for the summer, but they like
Right,
to
right,
have
right.
fun and learning. If we can do
Yeah,
both, then
that's a
we're really
win-win,
doing
right? Yes,
we're
yes.
doing the right thing
Uh-huh.
for the right reason.
Yep.
And speaking of that fun and learning is really exciting, again, as you as a science teacher, to see all of the options for those modulars that are going to really make a difference. Because some of the fun classes are the ones where you get to do some really neat things,
Yes,
and so
yes,
physics and
yes.
chemistry really kind of lets you do that.
For sure, certainly.
And being able
Certainly.
to see that. And so, have you talked with some of the physics and chemistry teachers?
No, we haven't had conversations. We had conversations in the preparation and
Right,
planning phases,
right.
but since then, no.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I'm not sure if a lot of teachers were able to go in and see the campuses just yet.
Okay. You'll be
They may
surprised
have
then,
trickled
too.
in, but it's not like quite released by the fire marshal. He's got
Sure.
to do his final inspection before we kind of open it.
Right.
Which, by the way, we're going to put together a virtual tour, and we'll post that
Oh,
on our
nice.
Facebook and website. We're gonna probably do that next week. It should be ready with the furnishings in there, furniture and stuff like that. But that'll be just a way for the public and the parents and kids to just get a visual of what it looks like. After all, they're going to be there a couple of years,
Right. Right.
and we're not exactly sure how long, but
Right.
2 to 3 years, they'll be in these campuses. So we wanted to kind of make them as best as we can, obviously,
Right.
as much like their original school. So another thing is accommodating all the athletics, right? So we have all these classrooms that are well done, but there's this whole other element that we have to plan for.
Mm-hmm.
So we spent some time, and we're going to get reimbursed for a lot of the things we had to order, probably the majority of it, if not all of it. But we bought all new weight sets for the conditioning programs at both schools. And so they were able to kind of get in there this summer and start their conditioning, particularly football kids.
Sure,
We want them to
sure.
kind of not lose that edge.
Right.
So they've been lifting all summer, all of our schools. But Ellender was actually lifting at Terrebonne, but now
Okay.
they're going to be housed at the vocational school. We have
Oh,
a
that's
building
right.
over there
Mm-hmm.
that we've made into like a field house.
And so it's their
Big
new
weight
gym,
room
real
and
big.
a big locker room with coaches' offices. So they're going to be well taken care of at Ellender. It's
right.
not quite on site, but it's going to be
really close.
enough. Probably a good little jog from there to the practice field.
And that may be
kind of warm
something
up a
that
little
they
bit.
do.
Yeah,
Like these things that have been put in place. One of those things we don't think about, but a lot of damage to a field house or to an athletic center, it messes up the weights. It messes up the weight room.
That's
and
right.
a lot of those
That's
things.
right.
Getting some of that stuff back and the ability to be able to get that back early for those kids, it's like they got a brand new weight room.
Yeah. It is.
So that's exciting
and
for
the,
those
the
guys
neat thing I
and
thought
girls.
at both places, but Ellender in particular, a lot of the kids got really involved with the setup and
Oh,
so that was neat. As a matter of fact, we did an interview with Channel 6, and he wanted to see the temporary campuses. So
Okay.
let's go see these kids in action over here that are really, sweating and moving all this, setting all this up so they can start conditioning at their own
Right.
facility.
so
That
they
was
had
kinda neat.
the
So that-
vision of conditioning to
Yes.
set up all the conditioning
right,
equipment,
Good
right?
point. Yeah, right.
And so the sweating with that, but that's got to
Yeah.
be wonderful to see, and the fact that that's an excitement level. That's like Christmas in July,
It is.
It's
Yeah,
somebody
we
quoted
take that
me
for
with
granted.
earlier.
We don't maybe see it like that, but it's really neat.
Yeah.
All new equipment, brand new stuff. And look, their stuff really it was so wet for quite a long time. It rusted
Rusted.
out really bad.
Right. Yeah.
And then you have all the cushions on the benches and all that stuff.
Right.
It
Yes.
just
The
so
stuff
so
goes
that'll all
bad.
be covered, which is a great thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
And reimbursed for that, because it's necessary, and so that leads us into thinking about the fall, thinking about the boys of fall
Yeah.
and football and what's going to be
Right.
happening. Let's think about the beginning of the school year. And this is going to be a rather unique school year coming out of Ida for everybody.
Right. So unique, yet at the same time, we're getting back to more normalcy with this. We're not going to be platooning at the high school, so that's going to be
Right. No platooning at
no
any of the high
platooning.
schools.
So that's going to be a wonderful thing.
That's exciting for both schools,
yes,
the ones
both schools.
who are
Right,
hosting
right,
and the
right, no
ones who
doubt.
kind of go back home.
No doubt. So that's maybe kids kind of may have liked the shorter schedule.
Yeah, maybe so.
But
Right.
we're going to be back to more normal times, which is a good thing. So and like you said, I mean, they shared classrooms, but we also shared athletic facilities. So we were sharing gyms and football fields, and so we'll be back to much more normal. So that's, I think, going to be one of the most
Beneficial.
I guess beneficial, great for this coming school year, just getting back to normal.
And so with this normal comes a new normal. Tell us about this new initiative for breakfast and lunch being provided in Terrebonne schools for free.
Yeah. So it's relatively new. It's we've been participating in this program for about 5-6 years.
Right.
This is the first year that we have like all of our schools covered. It's called Child Eligibility Provisions. It's a federal government program, and it's just a division of the child nutrition program. It's instead of like individual kids qualifying, you qualify as a whole.
As a school.
So if you meet a particular threshold, which is I think 60%. The school or the entire cluster of schools, you can group schools together to achieve that 60% mark.
Okay.
So that's a wonderful thing. I mean, and let's face it, tough times. I mean, we're a lot of issues with inflation and everything else we're dealing with, storm recovery and fuel prices, all of those things. We're all dealing with that.
Supply.
This will help.
Right.
This will be a help.
And so listen, I will tell you, just having some of the people on from the food bank, our local food bank, and just talking about those rising costs of food, it's just nice that everybody gets kind of included in this.
Yeah,
I know some
good
parents
point.
that their kids are just excited about going to school and get breakfast and lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt. And we can't take that for granted,
Right.
So it'll be a help. And hopefully it incentivizes a lot more kids to get nutrition on a regular basis.
Right. And that's one of those things to get them kind of empowered to be able to do that. Our last couple minutes, I want to spend some time just talking about you.
Okay.
This is your first year coming in.
Right.
Not that this is new to you, because you've been so involved in your previous role. Let's talk about your excitement as superintendent at Terrebonne Parish Schools.
All right. Well, I am familiar with the system. I've been here for 7 years. So although it's new, this position, right? I've been part, like you said, of a lot of things that were happening.
Right.
But I'm honored, to say the least. I'm honored and I'm humbled to serve in this capacity. And excitement is a word that comes to mind as well. I'm excited. There's a lot of things I want to do. I want to get accomplished.
Right.
It's just like everyone else.
Right.
The thing that's most difficult, I think, at times is remaining patient.
Right.
Because you want things done,
right.
Immediately, and
Right.
and you want things done for people, for the constituents, for our parents and kids, like today.
Yeah.
But we especially some of the recovery stuff, we're waiting on federal assistance. We're waiting on FEMA. They play by their own sets of rules, so we have to kind of play by their rules because they control the purse strings.
Right.
So that's probably going to be one of the biggest challenges, is just being patient. But at the same time, I want people to know that we're going to communicate the plan moving forward with what's going to happen to all of our schools. We want to really let them know, like, soon, what's going to happen to South Terrebonne, what's going to happen to Ellender, what's going to happen to Upper Little Caillou, the buildings and the school family, what's going to happen to Grand Caillou Elementary. See, those things haven't been really declared yet.
Right.
But we've got to make that declaration.
We've
kind of talked about South Terrebonne and Ellender being rebuilds.
Right.
But we've got a lot of other things to communicate soon.
Right.
And I want to do that like soon so we can start moving forward.
Well,
which we are, but just kind of really get to the point of where we're going.
Well, we're happy to have you in the position. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
And we look forward to that communication. We'll be glad to share it here on HTV.
That would be great.
All right,
Thanks
brother, thanks again.
Okay, Keith.
All right, guys, that will do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming here on HTV.